the lady in black. She's got a thing for tradition, a hankering for history, and she sure likes a good challenge. Well, when Throwback Weekend comes to town, she'll get exactly what she wants and play extra hard to get.
We're in the wall.
Shall we dance? NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our studios here in Tuscaloosa as we take a look at a busy show coming up, talking about baseball, softball, and NASCAR. We will go through everything coming up on the show thanks to our friends at RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us a smart board to go through everything coming up on the show today. We'll start by talking baseball with Ian Petrutz, as he had an interview recorded at the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium earlier this week, talking about a crazy series Alabama just had at Mississippi State and what's ahead for Ian and the Crimson Tide this weekend against LSU. Then we'll talk to Jocelyn Briski, who we had a chance to visit with earlier this season while she was continuing her fantastic freshman campaign, and really got to see her pitch well yesterday in the SEC tournament for Alabama. So we'll be talking softball with Jocelyn Briski, as well as a pit crew member for Austin Dillon from NASCAR. The front tire carrier Paul Swan will be joining us to talk about his experience getting to interact with Alabama football players a few weeks ago at Talladega for the Geico 500. Starting our headlines with baseball for today. Last weekend, again, 1-2 at Mississippi State, and it was a tough weekend for the Crimson Tide, falling in the first two games, winning the final game by a 10-5 final score, and Alabama was dealing with a stomach bug all throughout that weekend. It's amazing that they were able to field a team for those Saturday and Sunday games, and a lot of respect earned to Rob Vaughn, his entire coaching staff, support staff, the way they managed that situation and got Alabama on the field, and again, took the final game against a very good Mississippi State team. And on Tuesday, speaking of good teams, Troy was ranked 21st in the nation. Alabama ranked number 25. Alabama picked up a 7-6 win, a two-homer game for William Hammiter, first of his career, the fifth-year senior from here in Tuscaloosa. Great victory for the Crimson Tide. Now Alabama will be home this weekend against the LSU Tigers for what will be the final home series of the year. It will be Friday at 6 o'clock, Saturday at 4, and then on Sunday, 1 o'clock to wrap it up this season. And there's still an outside chance Crimson Tide could get hot these final two weekends of the regular season and in the SEC tournament. There is a chance Alabama could be back at home at the Joe for an NCAA regional, but this could be the last time we get to see the Crimson Tide. Certainly would need a hot stretch to make it back here in June. So make sure you cheer on the Crimson Tide coming up this weekend. Softball team this past weekend went 1-2 at Auburn, and then yesterday fell in a thrilling game to LSU. Really well played, well pitched on both sides, including by Caleb Beaver, Jocelyn Briski in that game for Alabama. But unfortunately, a loss ended Alabama's run in the SEC tournament yesterday in Auburn. Coming up on Sunday, we'll know where the Crimson Tide are heading for the NCAA tournament. We'll also see whether or not Alabama will be hosting a regional here in Tuscaloosa next weekend. But we do know some good news already from the Southeastern Conference. Kat Grill has been named to the SEC Community Service Team, so congratulations to her on the honor. So final notes around Crimson Tide athletics this week. We are mourning the loss of former player and athletic director for the University of Alabama, Cecil Hootie Ingram. What a remarkable run he had. Helped in the leadership of Alabama football and the hiring Coach Stallings to be Alabama's head coach in 1989, and that culminated in the 1992 national championship. Just tremendous leadership by him. The Crimson Tide Sports Network saw a lot of growth during his time as the athletic director as well, in addition to being a terrific football player for the Crimson Tide. Women's golf team saw their run come to a close in the NCAA regional, but tip of the cap to Mick Potter and the Crimson Tide women's golf team on a fantastic season. Quick reminder, the men's team will start play in their regional coming up next week in Chapel Hill. And then the Crimson Tide continue to add talent to the roster in women's basketball as the portal season's been active for Christy Curry and the Crimson Tide as they are able to add Christabel Azuma joining the Crimson Tide from Campbell. So another outstanding addition to this Alabama women's basketball roster. As we start the show today with some of our recorded interviews, we'll first be hearing from Ian Petrutz, the left fielder for the Alabama Crimson Tide, who transferred from Maryland to Alabama following the coaching staff that he got to play for the Terrapins. Now he's a part of the Crimson Tide. He talks about his baseball journey and what's ahead for the Crimson Tide in this week's interview recorded at the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Roll Tide and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover with you from the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium, joined by Alabama baseball left fielder Ian Petrutz as we'll talk about the Crimson Tide baseball season. Alabama home for one last series coming up this weekend at Sewell Thomas Stadium. And Ian, welcome to the show. Roll Tide, man.
Thank you for having me. Roll Tide.
Can you believe it's time for the final home series that we're going to have? 3 games coming up this weekend against LSU.
No, not at all. It feels like I just got here in the summer and now we're looking at the last 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season, so it's kind of wild how fast it's flown by.
How much have you enjoyed this year, just getting to play in the SEC and play for Alabama?
It's been so unreal. I mean, I always talk to my parents like every day about just how blessed I am to be here and how grateful I am that I made this decision, and kind of like God led me here for a reason. I'm so thankful for the coaches because playing in the SEC with this team, it's unbelievable. We have so much fun, and kind of the relationships we've made have just been unimaginable.
How about the fan support too?
Yeah, that's been awesome. I didn't know what to expect kind of coming here. I've kind of always watched Alabama baseball. Like I messed with Jim Jarvis last summer when I met him for the first time. Like my 2-strike approach that I had my freshman and sophomore year of college kind of came from watching him. I felt like I watched that guy for forever. Just choke up halfway up the bat, widen out, and not let any pitcher beat him. So kind of just watching the Alabama culture, I didn't know what to expect from the fans and like from the atmosphere at games and Twitter and all that. And it's been so good. I feel like just what the people's perspective here on campus of the baseball program and the baseball team has completely changed this year. Not only with the help of like Coach Vaughn and the new coaches, but I think what Coach JJ did last year with the team has brought a lot of fire to the program itself, and kind of Mr. Byrne investing in the team and stuff like that has helped out tremendously. So the crowd's been awesome. I mean, every game from opening day up until now has been amazing, and I don't think it's going to be any worse this weekend. So pumped for the last one.
Now, at Sewell Thomas Stadium, the student section's on the right field berm, right behind Evan Slight. Behind you in left field, we just get the playground. Now, Evan, of course, hears from the students all throughout the game. He talks back to them, motions, all that stuff. Do you ever hear from the kids on the playground where you're out there in left field?
Yeah, so I always, like, that's my favorite part of playing left field. I wouldn't want it any other way. I love talking to the kids out there. I always mess, like, Ev's got his Ragers, and I got my feral little children. And they're awesome. I mean, I just love how positive they are. They don't know anything but positivity, and it's so cool. You just see a bunch of kids smiling. I'm always playing catch with them or giving them a ball, giving stuff out after the game. And just their support for me and how positive they are is so supportive. Like, you make a mistake, you have a bad at-bat, you go out there and they're like, so what? Like, get them next time. Like, these kids are like 5 and they understand that. And to me, that's so awesome. And I always get messages after the game from parents and stuff like that and kids, and they're always so supportive and say how much like it's cool to see me interacting with them. And to me, that's awesome because it gives me more support to keep going and motivation to show up every day and kind of just doing it for them and trying to be a role model as best as I can for them. And Northridge High School or Northridge Middle School always is out in left field, middle school baseball team. And I went out to one of their playoff games, and like all the parents were coming up to me and stuff and talking to me, and I got to talk to the team afterward, and that was so cool, just being able to like kind of make new friendships, even if they're in middle school, just watching them flourish and grow through the game of baseball and doing the same thing, kind of being on the same path that I've been on is awesome.
Those are the future William Hammonders,
Yeah, 100% they are.
Well, that's really cool. Does that take you back to when you were a kid growing up in New Jersey? I mean, what was the spark for you? What was the team that really captured your interest or you got to interact with as a kid?
Definitely the Phillies. Growing up, I went to almost every weeknight Phillies game you possibly can. Even if I got done a Little League game at 6, we were at the 7 o'clock start. My dad kind of kept me around the game so much, and that's such a blessing to me. It's just I literally sat in left field with all my uncles, all the guys in my family, my grandpa, everybody. We'd get together and go eat a cheesesteak and watch the Phillies play 3-4 times a month, and to me that was awesome. So I'm a big Phillies fan. I love them and just the energy. I try to play like them too, which gives me a lot of like spark and motivation. Like I watch Bryce Harper play. I watch all these young guys play, Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, like growing up watching Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins, Carlos Ruiz, Shane Victorino, watching them play with like fuel and fire, kind of brought to them by the fans of Philly, was so cool to see. Like these guys are having so much fun, and they're 28, 35. I mean, Jamie Moyer pitched until what? Yeah. He was 45, something like that. And and these guys have so much fun out there. And just I've always wanted to be like that my whole life. Just be energetic, be happy, be grateful you're in between the lines and able to change somebody's life.
JT Real Muto as well?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not – catchers aren't usually my biggest role models to look up to in the game, but JT Real Muto is a stud for sure.
Yeah, I had to bring him up. He was on my team in Jacksonville in the minor leagues for 2 years, so I got to be around him a ton, got to see him make his major league debut and stuff, so he's one of my absolute favorites.
That's awesome. A lot of those guys, where I grew up in New Jersey and went to high school, a lot of those guys live like 5 minutes from there. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Trey Turner are all neighbors. They all live in the same little development, and actually one of my buddies cuts their lawn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Have you been able to work out with any of those guys or get to know them a little bit?
No, I've tried. Okay. But like Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Eagles, he went here. He works out at Alpha Athletics in Cherry Hill, which a lot of kids I've been around and played high school baseball with and stuff like that work out at that gym and are around him, have been around him before. Senior year of high school, I actually ran into him. Post school, a bunch of my teammates and I were getting some cryotherapy done at a local place, and they let us come in after hours just because of the way baseball was working out. So we came in after hours, and there lies Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts getting cryotherapy done too. So.
Well, now you're in the same club. You're in the A club. You're all Letterman of Alabama.
Yep, that's right.
Was it always baseball for you? Any other sports?
Growing up, I played football, baseball, soccer. I wrestled. I played street hockey. You name it, I kind of did it. And kind of going into high school, I had to make a choice between baseball and soccer. My mom was a huge soccer player. My dad was a baseball player. I didn't know which path I was going to go on, and I chose baseball, I think, 14. And then literally 6 months later, I committed to the University of Maryland to play baseball. So pretty interesting because the summer before that, I actually quit baseball. For like a 2-week span. I was going to play lacrosse for some reason. I don't know. And then something happened. I couldn't play for this certain lacrosse team that I wanted to play for because I was out of town or something like that. And then I picked baseball back up because I said if I'm not playing with my friends on that team, I'm not going to play lacrosse at all. And I started playing baseball again, and here I am.
There you go. Always an outfielder, or did you pitch at all? Any infield work?
I played first base and pitched. Kind of in Little League. I played Little League until I was 14, which for a lot of guys at this level is kind of a lot of guys just play travel ball their whole life and stuff. And I played Little League, so I kind of got to mess around at all positions. I was a left-handed catcher. I played shortstop, second base, third base. Kind of played everywhere. But then as I went to high school, was mainly first base and DH'd. And then I got moved to the outfield senior year, started playing outfield. I thought I had the best chance to develop there and grow. So kind of seen it all a little bit. But
how's your swing kind of advanced and evolved as the years have gone on?
Yeah, so I've always been meticulous about my approach and just mechanically and stuff like that. And the more I've gone along in my career, the more I've realized that right now in the season, it's not the time for changes, more mental stuff, approach. I've been kind of a whirlwind of swings. I've done a lot of different philosophies, been with a lot of different hitting coaches, kind of tried out a little bit of everything. And then when I got to college, I started to just take stuff in and use it how I feel best fits me. And at Maryland, we had superstars of coaches with Coach Papio and Coach Swope, two of the best hitting guys in the country. You're not going to find much better than that. And we kind of just worked to refine stuff, and now I just have the same cues and mental approach that works for me. And being able to learn from guys like Matt Shaw, who's a first-rounder to the Cubs last year, Nick LaRusso, some of the best hitters you'll ever find in college baseball, put up some of the best numbers you'll ever see. Being able to learn from them ever since my freshman year, and I got to be in a lineup with them for 2 years. Talking with them about approach kind of helped develop me into my thoughts now. And I love getting with LeBron and being able to talk to him about that stuff. Just, what are you sitting here? Why are you sitting it? What are you hunting? What are you looking for? Why are you looking for it? And just developing an overall good plan has been huge. And going into college, I didn't really know about approach. I didn't know 3-1, 2-0. Those are fastball counts. I didn't know that at all. So I only wonder how much better I could have been in high school. And then talking with Matt and Nick and learning all these nuances and looking at the scouting report and really utilizing the percentages and what am I looking at? Why am I looking at it? What zone am I going to hunt? Am I going to hunt a pitch? Is it a guy who doesn't have great stuff? So maybe you can just hunt one specific location instead of per pitch. If it's a better guy like Cal Steven on Friday night at Mississippi State, he throws 4 pitches, all pretty good. He throws a cutter, a slider, a bigger up and down curveball, and a changeup, but attacks with the fastball. So looking at the percentages and seeing why am I going to hunt fastball, in almost all counts. I was 2 for 2 off of him with a walk, and both hits came on a fastball. Even though he landed some better pitches to me, I was just looking at the heat map, kind of seeing, okay, if I'm 3-2, he's 98% fastball to lefties, and using that to my advantage and using the book to my advantage, find myself having way more success doing that.
How do you kind of stay calm with all that stuff in the box or have the right approach? Because you do have all the analytics, you do have the scouting reports, you know, the tendencies, but at the same time, it's kind of see ball, hit ball when it comes down to it, right?
I get confidence from that simply by watching the game. So I can watch the game and kind of see, okay, he actually is following this. And then I trust in the plan because I'm watching him do it. If the live chart says something different, okay, then I just make the adjustment. But when I get into the box, I find most success. Like when I slump, it's because I'm not convicted to the plan. It's because I'm not trusting the plan. But when I trust the plan and I'm convicted to what's going to happen, then I have success. So I don't really think about anything else other than what am I going to get right now. And it's not about hunting what you want to get, but it's about hunting what you're going to get. And I didn't understand that kind of freshman and sophomore year. I didn't really understand that too well. Like I would always go up there, kind of sit this pitch because this is what I want to get. And now I'm starting to mature enough to the point where I can go up to the plate and realize what I'm going to get and then stick to that plan throughout the whole at bat or the whole game.
And then be on time. I think I've heard Coach Vaughn say that a million times.
Yep. It doesn't matter what the result is if you weren't on time or you didn't swing at a strike. So swing at strikes, take balls, and be on time.
Sticking with some hitting stuff, then we'll go back to kind of your career arc. Have you always been no batting gloves?
Yeah, so I never wore batting gloves ever in my life. Not Little League, not T-ball, nothing. Never wore batting gloves. For one, when I got to high school, like is when I started to have a job, so I started to have to pay for stuff, and batting gloves are like $60. And I've never needed them before. I mean, we have hands for a reason. There's skin on them, you know. And my hands kind of calloused themselves over time. Freshman year, because batting gloves became free through the equipment manager, I started to wear them. And my freshman fall, you can talk to Coach Vaughn about this, was the most hideous, disgusting thing you've ever seen. I probably hit .57. And, I mean, if I didn't have those coaches who truly believed in development and getting guys better and sticking with who you have, I probably would have been cut at any other program in the country. It was that bad. I never really struck out a lot. I struck out every at-bat in the fall. It was terrible. And I was wearing batting gloves. I was also wearing batting gloves throughout the first quarter of the spring. And then I wasn't really playing. And I was like, you know what? I've never worn batting gloves before, and I've had success. Why am I wearing them now? So I took them off and then started raking live at-bats. And then I finally got my opportunity in game and wasn't wearing batting gloves, and since then it's stuck.
And then eventually when you get to wood bat, you'll not wear them at all then
no,
either,
heck
right?
No, even in summer ball,
Yeah.
I haven't worn them. So
Because you got to love the feel of that as well.
Yeah.
And it gives
definitely.
you feedback on your swing and everything with that, right?
Yeah. And I love pine tar. I love it just gritty. Just go up there and swing. I don't have to worry about adjusting my batting gloves or anything.
That's good. You mentioned the word gritty. I think that comes to mind when we think about high school baseball in New Jersey, because I think a lot of people look around the country and say, okay, Florida's a hotbed, Texas, California. You think about it, or the Southeast, some Atlanta. But there are a lot of great players from New Jersey. You got to see that in your time there, right?
Yeah, tons. My senior year was loaded with talent. I had Anthony Salamito on my team. I played travel ball with him. He was a first pick of the second round to the Pirates in the 2021 draft. Had some first round offers, like through and through a first rounder. He's gonna make his debut either this year or next year, but he's pretty dang close. He's been shoving and doing really well in pro ball. I hit against Shane Panzini, who was a third rounder to the Royals. Caden Dana, Kevin Jaxel. Kevin Jaxel's at UVA right now. Caden Dana was like a ninth rounder to the Angels, and he's been the best AA pitcher in the country. He's playing for the Trash Pandas right now. His numbers are unbelievable. Chase Petty was in that class, a first rounder to the Twins. Mike Bello went to Auburn. Now he's at Troy. Was played in the College World Series with Auburn as a freshman. Like started every game in the CWS. There's been some dudes that have come out of there, especially my class in particular and the 2020 class. And then ever since then, we have two more guys coming in next year, Sean Griggs and John Young. John Young's a South Jersey guy. Griggs is more north, but John Young's I know him pretty well personally, and that guy's a baller. He's as dirty as it comes. Like, guys just sweat, pee, bleed baseball up there. It's dirty, and that's what makes it so fun.
Is there a lot of talking, I imagine, that goes on too? Especially you mentioned, that guy's North Jersey. We're South Jersey. Like, is there that rivalry there too?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why state championships matter so much too. Like, you win South, you win North, and it's just a gritty fest. Everybody hates each other during the season. And then you get together and you're all on the same summer ball team and you love each other. So. And
then you may come to the same college. Like, didn't that happen with you in Maryland? Because there had been some Northeast guys. They recruited New Jersey heavily, it seemed like, before you got there.
My class in particular, there was no New Jersey guys, but New Jersey guys on the team. Matt Orlando went to my high school, Bishop Eustis, same graduate. And then some other guys were committed there who ended up getting drafted. Nick Decker was a first rounder to the Red Sox. Jack Herman went to the Pirates. These were all South Jersey guys in particular. Richie Scheikhofer, bunch of New Jersey guys.
So you mentioned Maryland was able to, you got on their radar pretty early, it seemed like, in the high school process. So what was it like getting to know this coaching staff that now obviously you get to work with here at Alabama?
Yeah, so going into freshman year, so growing up, I didn't know about college baseball. I didn't know the SEC. I didn't know Big Ten. So I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you and say, like, playing in the SEC is a dream come true, because it's not. I didn't know about it. I didn't know about college baseball. I never watched it. I just played Little League. I didn't know, like, what it meant to play baseball in college. And then as I started to get older and go to these high school games, I see guys that are committed to schools, and tons of them are committed to Maryland. This is like 7th, early 8th grade. I'm starting to realize this. All these guys, they're committed to Maryland, and like, I just love the colors and the uniform and stuff, and it's Northeast, and these guys are good and they're gritty, and I like the way they look and they play. And so I went down to Worldwood Bat in Georgia, late May, I want to say. And there was a video of me that went viral on Prospect Dugout. It got like 100,000 views overnight. And that night I got a bunch of texts and phone calls from coaches. And the first coach to reach out to me was Coach Matt Swope at Maryland, the hitting coach there, who's now the head coach. And he asked me if I wanted to get on the phone with him the next day. And because I was in 8th grade, there was like none of the high school rules. So like they could text me and reach out. I was like, heck yeah, let's get on the phone, and kind of starting to build a relationship with them. I talked to him for the first time that night. We talked for like 2 hours on the phone. Like, it was way different than the other schools that were calling. It was personal. It was he wanted to talk to my parents, talk to my brother, meet my sister, like all this stuff, just kind of get to know me personally. And that hit home to me. And then kind of starting to continue conversation with him. Then I got introduced to Coach Papp and Coach Vaughn, and Coach Mel wasn't there yet. But I got start to make a relationship with Coach Papp and Coach Vaughn, and it was awesome from the get. Like, I loved Coach Papp's energy. At the time, he was just coming off of playing. He was 1 year out of playing and new to the staff. Coach Vaughn was new head coach. This was going into his first year as the head coach. And they just persisted in trusting in their plan and their vision for Maryland baseball. We're going to do something here that's never been done before. And that's what they kept saying all the time. And we'd get on the phone and we just visualize it and believe in it and talk about what's going to happen like through this recruiting class and when I get there. And for 4 years we did that. We just manifested and visualized success and doing something that's never been happened at Maryland. Sure enough, freshman year comes around and we host a regional for the first time in Maryland history. And we do something that's never been done. And looking back on it, I'm amazed at just the power of that and the power of building that relationship and talking about something for so long, so consistently, and then it manifesting into something. It's so cool.
And then you're one of the most successful sports on campus, winning Big Ten championships, and you're going to be linked to a lot of those teammates for life.
Yep, 100%. Some of the relationships I've made there with Matt Shaw, Nikki Lowe, Elijah Lambros, just Andrew Johnson. I could go on and on. Like, the relationships that I've made with those guys are never ending. I mean, together, we all did something that's never been done before, and that's going to be etched in history forever.
What was it like to play against Evan Slight?
Honestly, I don't really remember Ev from playing against him. I do remember he was that older left-handed hitter that I wanted to be like watching him as a freshman. And we were pretty similar. We didn't strike out a lot. We hit a lot of doubles, some homers. We put the ball in play, made hard contact, played hard, played fast. So just kind of looking up to him from a third eye view. And I know Matt Shaw had always talked about him. So my sophomore year, I went out to dinner with my family, and Matt Shaw and Ev were sitting there together with their families eating, and I got introduced to Evan for the first time, and so it's kind of cool.
And now here you are.
Yeah, now here we are, and he's my roommate.
That's pretty cool.
On the road and at home.
Very nice. And then how about TJ McCants? So TJ, of course, was in your seat a week ago, and we talked all about Maryland Ole Miss baseball, and this is not what this podcast is meant to be, but I mean, it's such a funny moment. First of all, starting with your home run and the way you kind of admired it at Swayze Field.
Yeah, so I didn't know that there's beef at all. Well, so Friday night I hit a grand slam, and then Saturday I hit a pump, and I was kind of frustrated because the at-bat before I struck out on a pitch that hit me, and the umpire said I swung. You go go back and watch the replay. I did not swing, and so the next at-bat I hit a homer, and I was mad, and I watched it for a second, and then the next day comes around, and TJ's back for the first game, and hits an absolute rocket. I mean, the hardest ball I've ever seen him hit, and I've seen him hit some balls hard this year. And get into it with our catcher a little bit, and kind of it's funny to look back on it and be like, dang, T, you were on the other side of that one time or another. And it was cool to go back to Swayze with him this year and kind of see how the crowd reacted to him and gave him a standing O, because I mean, he deserves it. He has his name etched in Ole Miss baseball the same way I do Maryland baseball, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he talks about it. He said, I brought it up to Papio and to Rob Vaughn before we started the recruiting process, all, the home runs and then jawing back and forth. Because I think, didn't somebody get hit right after you hit a home run at Ole Miss?
Yeah, the very next pitch.
Yeah.
Eddie Hakopian got hit in the shoulder or something, upper extremities. And I don't think it was intentional, but it very well could have been. I don't know. So I don't ever see drama that's kind of going on in the game. I don't see it at all ever. So when I realized there was something going on, I was like, what? What's happening right now?
That's going to help you, I think, down the road probably in case anything interesting happens. You close out last baseball season, and then the news is announced after Alabama's done the Super Regional that Coach Vaughn's leaving Maryland to come to Alabama. Had you already been in the portal? Were you already kind of thinking next steps, or did that process really start after Coach Vaughn got the job here?
When Coach Vaughn got the job here, it made a decision to enter the portal pretty easy. I kind of was ready for a new place, new environment. My parents were moving to Florida, and my family means a lot to me, and having them close and in a reasonable distance matters to me. So that was really important, and I knew if Coach Papp was to go with Coach Vaughn, how much better he could make me in the outfield. Obviously, this being my first year playing defense, I knew was very important, and I wanted that to be a priority. So when Coach Vaughn announced he was leaving, I made the phone call, and I entered the transfer portal, and we didn't talk for probably like a good 2 weeks. Like, he didn't reach out, I didn't reach out. I sent him a text, said, "Hey coach, congratulations on the job. Like, I'm so proud of you," stuff like that. And so as my portal process continued, then he finally got settled down here, which is very important. He's coming into this new program. It's an SEC program, and you know kind of how that is with the portal. It's crazy. So you got to try to keep guys here, and he needs to make new connections. He needs to go talk with Coach JJ, and so I kind of gave it time and was patient in it and just kind of let it naturally happen. And once he was ready to start recruiting the portal, he reached out to me. I got on a visit here, and I kind of immediately knew. I was like, this place is everything I could ask for. I have the coaches of my dreams, like the best coaching staff you'll ever meet. I've been around a lot of coaching staffs. I've heard a lot about different coaching staffs just from different players at different places. And just knowing them, it was an easy choice. They had everything I needed. The SEC, what I wanted. Good baseball, good teammates. I got to talking immediately with some guys that were already here. Started talking to them a little bit about the culture, just what's going on with some guys in the portal. Are they coming back? Are they not? And honestly, to me, that didn't really matter. It didn't really matter if guys were staying or leaving, because I knew exactly what the coaches had. I knew exactly who they were and what they could be, especially at a place like this. Like, it was about time Coach Vaughn got a job in the SEC, because, man, was it a long time coming. And it just opened up at the right time for him. And immediately, the first thing I realized was, the people here. Noticed the people. There was no Miss Jenny at Maryland. And when I got to meet her and talk to her and learn a little bit about her role, I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't need anything else. You walk into Taco Mama for lunch with the coaching staff, and everybody's sitting here saying "Roll Tide." Like, that's a really cool thing. That's a really cool culture, and not something you see a lot of. So they made the choice very easy.
That's really good to see. And are these coaches staying really consistent to who they were at Maryland as well? I mean, have you noticed any changes with them?
Yeah, no, not at all. They're the same people day in and day out. The hardest workers you'll ever meet as coaches. Coach Papp works relentlessly every single day. Coach Mo, same. He's got a new role this year working with the catchers, and he does nothing but work his tail off to help them in every way he can. And it's paying off. And he's kind of teaching the guys how to help each other too. The older guys teaching the younger guys, and you see a guy like Luke Vaughn, who's going to be really, really good for us next year and maybe down the stretch. You never know. Matt gets beat up, and Luke might need to step in for an inning or for a game. I mean, you saw it the other day. He steps in the left field, and the next day he wasn't even at the game because he was so sick. And that's just the kind of kid he is. He's gritty. He's tough. He's exactly what you want in a catcher. And him and Will Plattner are best friends. They go back and forth with each other, and they help each other more than anybody I've ever seen. They're just grinding their tail off. So Coach Mo taking that role has been awesome to watch. And then the way Coach Papp has handled taking over all the hitters is phenomenal. And his scouting reports haven't changed. They're through and through the best scouting reports in the game. I've talked with some guys that are in pro ball, and they have nothing close to what we're getting. It's pretty similar, but ours are so in depth, and he doesn't miss a thing. There's nothing he misses. Coach Mikey and Coach G Wood, they do the same thing to help, and it's really cool to watch Coach G Wood sit next to Coach Vaughn in the dugout and see him learning and stuff. Like, he's a GA, he's young. This is his first time coaching, and the role he's taken over is huge, and he's doing such a good job of helping us. And same thing, he's just kind of learning from them and their motor. They're all high motor guys, and they all even each other out.
I feel like some future head coaches on this coaching staff.
Yeah, I think we're going to look back at this coaching staff and talk about how I think it was the Vanderbilt or the Clemson staff back in the early 2000s. You got Kevin O'Sullivan, Tim Corbin, Eric Backage, all on the same staff and more. And I think this is going to be a staff like that. You're going to look back in 20, maybe 30 years, and you're going to say, wow, like, how good did we have it with them?
Absolutely. And then how about Coach Vaughn as a motivator, whether it's in game, sometimes he'll huddle you guys together in game. And then we see always the post game chat you guys have, win or lose after a ball game. What's he like in those moments?
He's just a leader of men, such a good leader of men. The traits and the attributes that he passes along to us through winning and through losing and keeping our head on straight. There is no high and there is no low. It's just even. Every day we just try to play a faceless opponent. It doesn't matter if we have 12 guys on the bench like we did this weekend or if we're 40 deep. No matter what it is, we're coming at you with everything we got, and he is the epitome of that. It's just it doesn't matter. We're coming here every day to get better and be better than we were yesterday as a group. If we had ghosts and we were playing each other, we just want to win every day. Just be ourselves from yesterday every day, and learning as a group and coming together as a group is priority number one. And like I said, just the traits and the attributes that he gives us are crazy. His faith, the importance of it in his life, how he is with his family, how he is with Wyatt after the games. He's a true role model, and does such a good job of developing guys. He's developed Matt Shaw, like first rounders, pitchers. It doesn't matter. Because of it's the leadership qualities that he has. It's not necessarily the skills he possesses or anything other than just the leadership qualities that he has. And it's something that we can learn from all the time.
And building that culture is really important when things don't go your way, whether it's a baseball setting, tough road trips to Kentucky or Georgia, or even, again, this past weekend against Mississippi State. And you can talk about it as much as you want to or leave it alone. But, you had to overcome so much, it seemed like, to be able to get on that field Saturday and Sunday. Just take us through how, as you put, I think, on your Instagram story, the gnarliest weekend ever.
Yeah, we were messing around in the dugout. It sure was the gnarliest weekend you probably could ever have on a baseball field. I've never experienced anything like that, and I've played a good amount of baseball. Evan Slights played a lot of baseball in college and never seen anything like it. But I think the resilience of the group this weekend, I think, is a testament to who we are as a team. It doesn't matter win or lose, just the resilience of the guys. We had guys stepping up in roles who haven't seen much playing time all year. You look at Max Grant's weekend, and he's had 15 at-bats in SEC play. He's got 3 home runs in SEC play, and that's just a guy who is a consistent teammate every day. He shows up every day. He's the same person. He's the hardest worker on the team. He's taking extra ground balls. It doesn't matter if he's got a chance at playing or not. This is his last year of college baseball, and he shows up every day like he's going to play the game for the rest of his life, and he just goes as hard as he possibly can. He's the sweatiest, the dirtiest after BP, puts together quality at-bat after quality at-bat. Same with Will Hamiter. Those guys are just the ultimate teammate. They're always doing the live pitch chart. They're making sure we have all the information we need for the guys that are playing every day when they're not playing. And they're just consistent, showing the freshmen how to do the pitch chart and working with them to give us the best information possible, because they can see things when they're not playing that guys who are playing every day might not see because they have a different view of the game. So just the constant information they give, it's being the ultimate teammate, and that's kind of what we saw this weekend. Just with the resiliency and persistence of the group is just keep coming. It doesn't matter what we have. We're gonna put together what we do have, and we're gonna take it to them as best as we can. And if 40% is all we got to give 100% of the 40%, and just constantly reminding guys of that. And if you see a guy dragging along, bring him with you, pull the rope. Everybody's got a role to play, and play that role. Pull guys with you, bring guys along, put them on your back if they need it. And if you're feeling bad and you don't feel like you can give the team, if somebody else's 50% is better than your 60%, then it might be time to tell somebody, because that can win or lose us a ball game. And I think the way we handle that this weekend has been awesome. Same all year round. It doesn't matter if we got swept by Kentucky or swept by Georgia. We just know what we have to get better at, and we take full responsibility for it.
That's got to make you excited for the next 2 weeks, and then the SEC tournament, and then hopefully a great run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it does 100%. I feel like we have just seen an absolute gauntlet. We've played the number 3 team in the country now 3 times. with Tennessee being ranked 1 this morning. We got to play them. We beat them. We played a series against Arkansas when they were number 1. We beat them. Texas A&M, man, were they a powerhouse. Just a really good ball club who knew how to win. They knew how to put teams away when they had to put them away, and they knew how to bounce back when things weren't going their way. So we kind of saw that with them. But, man, you look back on it and we're 5-4 against the number 1 team in the country. Like, regardless of a record or anything, I mean, that's pretty awesome. You're not going to – how many other teams in the country get to say they played the number 1 team in the country 3 times in one regular season? Not many. And I think that's what prepares us for the postseason, you know. Granted, we take care of business the next 2 weeks and do what we have to against Troy and LSU, and then finish with Auburn. We take care of business there and then look maybe for a decent seed in the SEC tournament and make a good run there. Who knows? We might host another regional at the Joe, and if not, hopefully be a good seed in a regional. And, you know, I don't think anybody's going to be able to bring it like those other teams that we've played. So we've been through the wormhole of what the SEC brings, especially the SEC West, and I think that's going to be really important for us moving forward.
Really look forward to that. And before we let you go, wanted to touch on as well, you talked about the faith that Coach Vaughn has, and you're obviously faith is important to you and a lot of your teammates. We see you praying with your teammates before and after games. Just how important has that been to what you've been able to deliver to your teammates this year and trying to be a spiritual leader? Yeah, so I'm not a baseball player. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian that plays baseball. And that's how I look at it, and that's completely changed my perspective. It's just, it doesn't matter what we're going through. It doesn't matter. Like, there's a reason that happened this weekend. There was a reason we needed to persevere over the food poisoning that happened to the team and knocked guys down. There's a reason for all of that, and the reason is way greater than we are. It's not for us to understand, because we understand that God has a plan for us, and I think going through failure and challenges and trials and tribulations, they're all accredited to him, because all it does is build a tougher skin for us. And a lot of the guys on the team totally buy into that and completely buy in to the plan being greater than ourselves. And if we can just walk where our feet are every day and do what's in front of us, we're going to be in a good spot. It doesn't matter if it's success or failure, because the plan is greater than us. And I think buying into that gives a lot of, I don't know what the correct word for it is, but a lot of just trust and just not being fearful. There's no reason to be fearful, because we know that God's got us. So we just fear not. And I think spreading that message and spreading the gospel as best we can is really important. And that's number 1 priority for me. Well said. Ian Petrutz, it's been a blast. Good to talk to you on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Just thank you for your time. Best of luck to you in the Crimson Tide moving forward. Roll Tide. Thank you, Roger. Roll Tide. The official throwback weekend of NASCAR returns to Darlington Raceway May 10th through the 12th. Experience a weekend of good times, unforgettable racing, and a date with the track known as the Lady in Black. Don't miss out your chance to witness epic racing and jaw-dropping NASCAR throwback paint schemes. It's a 3-day weekend of racing at the track that's too tough to tame. Purchase your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com and experience a weekend you'll never forget. Also at the Advantage Center, we had a chance to catch up with Crimson Tide softball pitcher Jocelyn Briski, who is only a freshman, but she's made quite an impact on Patrick Murphy's softball team so far this season. She details her journey to Alabama from Arizona. Another interview recorded at the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We're back at the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover. Now, please be joined by Alabama softball pitcher Jocelyn Briski, who's starting to get near the tail end of her freshman season here at the University of Alabama. And Jocelyn, roll Tide. How's the season been for you?
Season has been awesome. It has been so cool to experience something. The atmosphere playing in a stadium like Rhodes with my teammates, it's been awesome.
Has it kind of hit you that now all the home games are in the books? You guys had such a good finish with the way that Sunday game went against Tennessee.
Yeah, the Sunday game was awesome. The vibes were good all around, from the fans, the coaches, teammates. felt really confident going into that game. And it's kind of just surreal how fast this season has gone by. And we have one more away series at Auburn this weekend, and then we have the SEC tournament, and then postseason is right around the corner.
Well, it's really exciting, and we're going to talk all about this team and what they're capable of moving forward down the stretch. But for you, what's it been like just getting to live out a dream, getting to play college softball?
It has been awesome. I mean, I've dreamed of this since I was 8 years old and I started playing, and to be at Alabama is just, it's an even crazier dream. I never anticipated that I would be here playing, but here I am.
Who got you into softball originally?
My dad played baseball in college, so he kind of signed me up for T-ball, and it just escalated from there.
Where do you play?
He played at Butler University in Indiana.
Oh, very good. So how'd you guys get out to Arizona?
My mom is from California. My dad is from Chicago. And my mom moved to Arizona when she was in high school. And my dad just happened to move out here for work when he was in his 20s. And now they're here. Yeah.
What was the best thing about growing up in Phoenix?
I think Arizona is a very underrated state. I know a lot of people haven't been there from out here, but just the scenery and how beautiful it is. You have mountains, you have desert, you can go skiing. It's kind of just like an all-around like landscape.
And that allowed you to play softball, I imagine,
Yes,
all year round.
all year round. Yes, I was able to play spring, summer, fall, winter. Never took a season off.
That's really good. That certainly helped your development. We're all used to you, of course, in the circle wearing crimson. But for you, did you originally start out as a pitcher?
Yes, so I pretty much started pitching when I was 12 years old and kind of continued to pitch from there. And it is something that I just fell in love with. I like being in control of the game and kind of just always being in the game every single pitch.
Did you catch it a little bit as well?
Yes, I was a catcher from about when I was 8 to 12, and then I had bad knee problems, so I had to give that up, and I chose pitching.
There you go. Very wise choice. Did that help you kind of with the mental side of pitching, knowing what it was like being on the receiving end?
Yes, but I was young at that time, so I don't think I was very developmentally at that point in that age. But it definitely did, the catching aspect coming into pitching for sure.
What did you like about pitching once you first really got into it, and then especially as you started to develop in high school?
I'd say just being in control. I feel like I have the game in my hands and I can just like manipulate how the game is going to be. Granted, not everything will go how I would like it to, but just being able to talk to my defense too, just be in the circle and just take control of everything.
What was the first pitch you felt like you mastered?
Fastball. First thing I learned was fastball. Then I went to the changeup, and I kind of just rode with the fastball changeup until I was about 14, and then I started putting in other pitches at that point.
Who were some of the really critical coaches kind of in your development at that age?
I would say my main pitching coach, her name was Monique Woodmansey. I saw her from when I was 12 years old all the way until I graduated high school. And then another very important person, Jill Compton. She played at Fresno State, and she was a volunteer at ASU, and she worked with me a lot on my curve and my rise ball, which became very important factors as I started to develop my pitching career. And then Erica Beach, she played at Arizona State, very well household name, and she helped me a lot with my changeup and my mental side of the game.
And getting to work with coaches like that had that experience in college softball and beyond, did that help make the dream feel like more of a reality that you were on the right path?
Yes, definitely. Especially working with Erica, kind of hearing her experiences and everything. And then it definitely helped with the experience, and I'd say a lot with the mental part of that.
And then you get to compete. Obviously, you were doing some club work, but you get to compete for Desert Vista High School. What led to some success there early on?
I would say just it was my first time playing for school pride, and it kind of just was a different kind of integrity that I felt in me, and getting to play with my best friends. I mean, my best friends in high school were on the softball team, and then my sister, I got to play with her my senior year, and that was just the coolest experience ever, getting to play with my sister.
And you really had some early success as well. Not only were you getting a lot of quick outs, at times you're getting a lot of strikeouts. Did you once have a 20 strikeout game in 21 batters faced?
Yes, I did. My junior year, and then actually my senior year, I had a 21 strikeout game.
That's incredible. So, I mean, what was your defense feeling behind you, and how'd you feel kind of in the groove in those moments when you're getting ridiculously high strikeout numbers?
I feel like it's just attacking the strike zone, not falling behind. That's very important, because once you fall behind, you have to throw a strike kind of over the plate, and that leaves more room for them to hit it. But I'd say just getting ahead of batters and then being able to manipulate where I want to throw an 0-2 or a 1-2 pitch.
pretty good celebrations after outings like that?
Definitely.
So just thinking about your high school career, how many perfect games, how many no-hitters?
Oh, gosh. I know at least probably 5 no-hitters and 2 perfect games, but I can't remember exactly.
That's really good to see. So again, you're continuing to rise up the ranks in high school softball. People around the nation are talking about you, but you were also hit with a little bit of adversity close to home with your mom going through breast cancer treatments. Just what did that teach you? How difficult was that time?
That was definitely probably the hardest thing I ever had to face in my life. I was only a sophomore in high school, and it really came out of nowhere. She was healthy, she was fine, and she was going through menopause at the time, and she got a mammogram, and they found a tumor. And when she told us, I really didn't have any emotions. I didn't know how to react. I've never been hit with anything like that in my life. And it was also right in the heart of COVID. So when we found out she had to do chemotherapy, it was like, we can't go out and get COVID or else her immune system is going to be very compromised. And so that led me to moving out of the house for about 2 to 3 months until the vaccine came, because I had to go to school, I had to continue to play softball, and I had to keep her healthy. So that was just very, very hard being away from her for so long, kind of not knowing really how she's doing, only being able to really call her. She was pretty sick, and when I was able to move back in, that's kind of at the time she got the vaccine, and then she was done with chemo, and then she had 2 more months of radiation, and then she was cancer-free.
And then when the vaccine came back as well, everything kind of normalized a little bit around softball. Was it tough not having softball as an outlet during those months?
Yes, it definitely was. But what really helped is I was able to go stay with some friends that were my age, and kind of just hanging out with them really took my mind off everything else that was happening as well.
And for you as well, you got to share the picture on your Instagram from this past Sunday against Tennessee. It was the Power of Pink, and your mom was there getting recognized as a cancer survivor. How meaningful was that?
It meant everything. She is my rock. She does everything for me. I mean, I could go on and on about all the things that she's done for me that I know no one else would do. And so being able to just be there with her and that she is here is just the most important thing to me.
Absolutely. We're really happy for that, and really great to see that against Tennessee in the Power of Pink. Again, you were having great results in high school, even with COVID kind of throwing a wrench into things. Your plan was still college softball. When did you start to receive a lot of recruiting attention?
I would say when I was a freshman in high school, we were first year 14U team, and we made it all the way to it's called the PGF National Championship, which is like the big national championship at the end of the summer. And it kind of put my team on the map. People were like, oh, who is this team from Arizona? And that's when a lot of college coaches started just come and watch. And then around September 1st, my junior year, is when I was officially able to start having direct contact with these coaches.
And long before you saw the rise of SEC softball or Oklahoma, really softball was a West Coast sport, specifically the Arizona schools. So did you receive a lot of attention first in your home state?
Yes, I talked to both Arizona schools, but I just knew right from the start that I wanted to kind of get out of Arizona. I'm a very independent person, and kind of just going and exploring other places was something that I really wanted to do. When
did Alabama get on the radar?
They called me September 1st at midnight. They were the second call that I talked to that night, and I wasn't really interested in Alabama. I never really heard anything from them before that, and so when Coach Murphy called me, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, a Tuscaloosa number is calling me. And when I answered the phone, we just talked about happy September 1st, and we picked up the next day. I had a Zoom call with all the coaches, and then I decided 2 days later that I was going to take a visit here.
That's really cool. Had you watched a lot of Alabama softball, teams in the World Series and things like that?
That year was 2021, and I remember they had a very, very good season in 2021. They made it to the World Series, all the way to the semifinals, and so I kind of knew who Alabama was, and so it was very, very cool to get a call from them.
And, of course, in the circle for a lot of those great Alabama teams, Montana Fouts. What did she mean to you just in your high school career? Did you try to model anything after her?
Once I committed, I watched every game after that, and she was also my host on my visit, and she was just an amazing person. She was super, super nice to me, and the biggest thing that I took away from her is just the role model that she was to the fans and the little girls out there, and that is something that I want to be. I want to be someone that all those girls look up to.
How much fun was your visit here? Was it your first time kind of in the Southeast?
Yes, it was my first time, and it was so much fun. Alabama wasn't at the top of my list, but clearly here I am. And after that visit, I knew that this was exactly where I wanted to be.
And how great was that decision once you had National Signing Day and you got to put on the crimson hat? Everyone knew where you're going.
Yes, it was so nice. It it kind of felt like it was official. I could finally talk to the coaches without having to like not talk to them because of the rules and everything. And so it kind of took a lot of stress off. Like, it's done. Like, I'm here. Like, this is where I'll be going.
And then once you make that decision, you get finished with your high school year. What were the next steps once you got here to make sure you were ready not only to play for the Crimson Tide this year, but perform at a high level?
Well, what was really cool about the end of my senior year is about at the start of my senior year, Murph talked to my family and I, and he told us that we were going to be able to go to Italy over the summer. And so I had to make a decision if I wanted to keep playing softball over the summer, if I wanted to come out here to prepare for the Italy trip, which was the whole month of July. And I made the decision to go on the Italy trip because who would pass that up? And I kind of just had to like start preparing for that. And I'd say I ended my club season in Colorado, which was very hard, but I flew out to Alabama the next week and we prepared for a week, and then just getting to go to Italy, it was the best transition ever, getting to meet the girls, getting to just play before even playing in Rhodes Stadium or anything like that. It was really awesome.
So the first time getting to wear the game jersey, that was in Italy for you.
Yes.
How great was that experience, just from all the sightseeing you got to do? Obviously, the games are certainly important, a huge reason why you're there, but I mean, it had to be the best team building you could imagine.
Oh, it definitely was. Like, when I came back in August for school, it felt like I wasn't even a freshman. I mean, I knew everyone on the team. Like, I was talking to them, where that can kind of be scary as a freshman. You come to the Alabama softball team and you're like, who are these girls? Like, all this. But I felt like I was already really close with all of them. So it just made that transition so much easier.
Going back to the Italy trip, all right, the favorite place you got to visit as a tourist?
I would say Lake Como. It was surreal. I mean, a group of us on the last day, we got up really early in the morning and we took the boat over to this bridge cliff, and we went cliff jumping, which is so much fun, and we swam, and that was definitely the best part of the trip.
Any nerves with that?
I did not jump, but I took videos of everyone. I was down below taking videos of everyone. Yes.
How about the best meal?
I had this pesto pasta. I'm a big pesto person, and that definitely was the best thing I had for sure. That's
really cool. Yeah, we got a great breakdown of that trip from Murph once they came back. He talked about some of the hikes he was able to do and all the walking.
Walking, that was a lot.
Yeah, definitely really cool. And you mentioned you felt like you were part of the team once the fall semester started. How did the upperclassmen leaders really welcome this freshman class?
I'd say something that was really cool is Lauren Johnson, my roommate. She has an older sister on the team, and I got to talk to Jenna a lot, and she is the staple of this team. She's the leader. She's a fifth year. She's been here all 5 years, and I just say there's 9 seniors. I mean, that's a lot of leadership, and it has just been awesome seeing them take charge and really just show me the ropes and get me prepared, and it made the fall a lot easier than what it really should have been.
Do you love how we do senior day here with everybody having their own individual one throughout the year?
I think it's very important to just recognize each person's individual success and stuff that they brought to this team. And I've never seen anything like that. So I just thought it was super, super cool that each person got their own special day to be recognized.
It really is something really special here. And for you, you get to start your freshman year and you get to work in the circle for the Crimson Tide. What did you feel like the toughest adjustment was from high school or club to college softball?
I would say just the competition. I mean, I played these players all the time. It was nothing compared to high school, and the atmosphere of Rhodes. I've never played in front of this many people, and it gave me a lot of adrenaline, and there were times where I would just get a little too much adrenaline and be out of control. So just really learning how to just calm myself on the mound, and just it's me and the catcher and the batter, and that's all there really is out there.
How much does Murph or Lance help you out during your start?
Lance has been a huge help. A lot of things we focus on is just throwing strikes. It's really all you can ask for as a pitcher. And so just like reminders. And then our catchers, Marley and Riley, they have been a huge help, just encouraging me. And even our defense, I roll a lot of ground balls. So just like their communication with me, like saying, hey, they got me. Like I trust in my defense that they're going to make all the plays for me.
That's really good. We talked before about the pitches you developed in high school. How about now? What are the pitches you throw, and what are you trying to do to the batter with each pitch?
I give a lot of props to Lance for this. I was a big rise ball pitcher coming into here, but he took a chance, and we learned a drop ball. And now I'd say drop ball is my best pitch. There is no count or any batter that I wouldn't feel comfortable throwing that drop ball to, and I feel like it has led to a lot of my success. So props to him for also helping me get prepared for that pitch.
How many bullpens does it take? How many pitches does it take to develop a pitch like that and then really feel comfortable with it?
The fall was really hard. When we did scrimmages or practice, I was just struggling, and I'd get hit very hard. That we'd do scrimmages where the drop ball was the only pitch that I could throw. And so it was just really practicing that. And then once I figured it out, it kind of was like got into a groove with it. But the fall was very, very hard. A lot of drill work. There were times where I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to throw this pitch. Like, I'm not going to figure it out. And he was like, no, just keep the course. Like, it'll work out itself. And then once about January hit is when I really, really felt this pitch develop, and it kind of took off from there.
That's really good. And again, you've had some really good results at 2 times named the SEC Freshman of the Week. You're the first person to do that since Montana Fouts back in 2019. Just what do you feel like continues to fuel your success each time you go out there?
Honestly, the biggest part is the defense. I need to have trust in the defense, and if I don't, that's a problem. And with I roll probably 18 ground balls a game, and knowing that they make all those plays just makes it so much easier.
And how important is the concept of Mudita as well? I'm sure you learned about that as you're getting ready to come to Alabama. Have you really gotten to see it on this team?
Oh, 100%. And this is the first team where we've had a pitching staff of more than 3 pitchers, and we have 6 pitchers, and all of us are so different from each other, and all of us complement each other so well. And if all of us can just have joy for each other when we're out on the mound, we know that we will get the job done.
Give some props to your fellow pitchers. What do you love about what they work with?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you have Ailey, and she has a killer changeup. Jayla with her curveball. Beaver with the rise ball. Salt with the curve and drop ball. I mean, you could go on and on and on about how each pitcher is so different from each other and how they complement each other so well.
What does Lance and also Coach Murphy do to help you get ready for each start with the mental game and all the scouting reports? Because it seems like a ton of information, but you really got to get confident with that on the circle.
Yeah. Something we do very, very well is prepare for teams, but a lot of the things he tells us is you have to go at them with your best stuff. You can't pitch to the batter. You have to pitch to yourself. And so we watch a lot of film before, and he kind of talks about hitters' strengths. We kind of watch their swing and misses and stuff and where they throw. But the main thing that we've kind of been stressing, our bullpens have been very, very hard. He's been working us very hard because we have been walking a lot of girls. And so we do a lot of competitions and stuff in the bullpen with punishments if we don't throw strikes, because when you walk a batter as a pitcher, that runner is going to score. And I think it really paid off this weekend. In the last 2 games of the series, Saturday and Sunday, there were 0 walks that me or Caleb Beaver gave up to the team. So you just see that paying off in the bullpen, and it's showing off in the game as well.
What's going to be most important for this team once we get into the SEC tournament and regional play?
I'd say just keeping our heads up and not falling down. We've kind of been struggling a little bit lately, but none of us are worried. We all still have belief in each other, and it's just keeping that belief on the field and keeping that confidence.
How much have you enjoyed, again, just being an Alabama softball player? The culture of Rhodes Stadium you talked about before really energized you, but getting to learn all the cheers, getting to just soak in all this culture.
It's crazy to think. I was talking about this with someone the other day, like, I'm playing against the girls that I watched on TV my whole life. I'm around these girls, and it's like, you go back and I have people like, I just saw you on TV. I'm like, it doesn't feel real. It's kind of crazy. Like, this is my life right now, but it's something that I worked for, and it's something that I worked really, really hard for. So it's all finally paying off.
And then I imagine getting down the road to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. How much of a motivating factor is that? I'm sure that's been something you've dreamt about for years.
100%. And getting to play for the seniors as well, knowing that there is 9 girls on this team that will never get to play softball again. Granted, some may go pro, undecided right now, but just really playing for them is the biggest thing. I mean, we could have had our last home game at Rhodes. We won't know until Selection Sunday, and this is all for them. Like, I'm giving it all for them, and I want them to go out on the magic carpet ride in Oklahoma City with the national championship.
That certainly is the goal, and for you as well, you get to have a freshman year here at Alabama. How much you've enjoyed just the culture that's here regarding the football team? Maybe did you enjoy going to Bryant-Denny Stadium in the fall?
Yes, the football games were fun. I feel like I was able to make a lot of friends, other athletes. 2 of my other roommates were soccer players, so it was just really, really cool getting to like meet other athletes as well, just besides the softball team. Went to every single football game. I even got to go to the SEC championship and the Rose Bowl, which is really, really fun. And just like that school pride that I finally get to have, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you mentioned your relationship with the soccer players as well, going through the ups and downs of their season. I mean, how much fun was that back in the fall?
It was definitely fun. I really liked going to their games and kind of just hearing like their mindset about their games and everything. Like it kind of got me a little bit prepared for how our season could have gone, and just being able to like witness someone else go through something else, like it was very helpful.
Now, how about in the classroom for you? What's been your focus this year?
I am a nursing major, so just really like in my science classes, keeping my GPA up. I take a lot of pride in my academics. I would say that was the number one reason why I picked a school, was were they going to let me do what I wanted to do, and the academic parts of it was I going to get a great education, and here at Alabama I'm getting a phenomenal education. So academics is something that I really, really take pride in, and just keeping my GPA up.
Any goals for after graduation or after softball's done with that?
I would like to apply for the nursing upper division here, and if I get into that, go and get my doctorate after and become a CRNA.
That's really good. Yeah, that's certainly a good goal to have, and something towards working towards is really, really important as you try and balance, softball along with that. And then there are also NIL opportunities. How much have you enjoyed that part of it?
It has been awesome. I mean, the Advantage Center is amazing. Like Lexi will just text us when there's NIL opportunities, and it just makes it so much easier than having to go out there and just find it for yourself. So this center has really been amazing, and the university with the opportunities has been amazing.
We're certainly glad to hear that. Once the season's done, what's the summer look like for you? Do you ever really take much of a break from pitching during any part of the year, or is it something you're constantly working on?
I think I'll get to take a break. That's something that I'm going to have to talk to Lance about, but I'm sure he'll want me to take a couple weeks off. I'm going to get to go home. My sister plays softball as well, so I'm going to get to go watch her play some games, which will be really exciting. So I'm excited for that, to go see her play. We're
definitely excited for you. Well, Jocelyn Briski, thank you so much for all the time you've given us today at the Advantage Center and on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Just all the best to you and the Crimson Tide softball team moving forward. Thank you. Roll
Thank
Tide.
you so much for having me.
When throwback weekend comes to town, the lady in black will play extra hard to get. Or as some might say, too tough to tame. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
We continue on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Once again, talking a little bit of NASCAR. As earlier in April, we had the Geico 500 here in our backyard in Talladega. Really fun experience for Alabama football players. They were able to make the trip from Tuscaloosa to Talladega and get a unique experience as they got to interact with a lot of different people around NASCAR, including Paul Swan, who's a tire carrier for the number 3 car, driven by Austin Dillon for Richard Childress Racing. Paul joins us now to talk about his conversations with a guy like Jalen Milroe, plus how a former football player ended up being in a NASCAR pit crew, even now being featured on a television show. Paul Swan, an interesting character, and he joins us this week on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Paul, it's great to have you on the show. This is a show where Alabama football meets NASCAR, so you're the perfect guest because it was football to help lead you to NASCAR, right?
Yeah, I love it. And it is awesome. A lot of guys on pit road are all ex-football players. Myself, we got a couple guys on my team who are ex-football players. You look up and down pit road, and it really has transitioned from mechanics trying to become pit crew members to now athletes becoming these pit crew members. And hang on, let me take my liners out.
You're good.
Sorry about that. Okay. So back in the day, it was all mechanics being pit crew members, and they, stops were not that fast. They thought they were fast for the time back then, but then early 2000s, they started to get athletes, and they were recruiting athletes, and they were turning them into these pit crew members because they figured it'd be easier to teach an athlete kind of the basics of what to do on these cars versus teaching mechanics how to be athletes. And the stops have never been faster since. And really up and down pit road now, it's like pretty much, I'd say 85% athletes on these pit crews.
That's really cool to see. And again, our football players got a chance to see that. Do you remember getting to interact with Jalen Milroe? We saw a clip of that. I mean, all these guys, this was really their first NASCAR experience. What was it like getting to interact with them?
Yeah, that was awesome. We usually have a lot of people down on pit road, but it's pretty cool when you see Jalen Milroe and some of these other guys right in the pit stall right next to us and getting hyped up for the pit stops. We were hyping them up. We were getting them going, and we were having fun with it. We love when people from other sports and especially football teams come down to pit road and see what we do and really enjoy it and think it's really cool what we're doing. because, I love playing football, and, I think football is the greatest sport in the world, and I love going to games and seeing my buddies play in the NFL, seeing my guys play in college. So to have them come down there and be in our world and really think it was cool, that was awesome, and interacting with them and everything. And, Jalen, he was a real cool guy. So it was, it's always fun when the juices are flowing down on pit road.
Yeah, they certainly enjoyed it. And again, for you, football player at Bowling Green, were you recruited by one of the NASCAR teams, or how'd you get first involved with being a pit crew member?
So after I was done playing at BG, I played there for 5 years. Went down to Wake Forest with Coach Clausen and his staff, and was going to try to become a strength coach. Did my pro days and everything. It didn't work out for me to make it to the NFL, so I was just going to be a strength coach. Did my internship down there with them, graduated, and then while I was at Wake, some of the former football players were on pit crews, so they would come back and interact with the guys, and I would interact with them. And then one of the coaches, Dave Bass, who was a strength coach at Wake, he told me he had some connections with guys around the area and gave me their numbers, and did some cold calls and went and did some tryouts and stuck on at RCR. And this is my 10th year being there now. So it's been awesome. I met my wife in the sport, some of my best friends, and it's been great. A lot of great memories.
Were you a NASCAR fan before all of this?
Not really. I didn't know much about it. I knew who Dale Earnhardt was. I knew who Jeff Gordon was, but other than that, I thought it was just cars going around in circles, and didn't really understand the intricacies of the sport, the business side of it, the athletic side of it, the marketing side of it, the PR side of it, all the cool things that go into the daily basis and the weekly basis of these big race teams. That it's a show. We call ourselves a traveling circus, basically, and that it's a high class traveling circus. It's really cool to see how everything's done and see how these haulers go from track to track, week to week, and they get everything there, the cameras, the equipment, the crews, the cars, everything. And it's a lot of fun, and it really translates and correlates to football in so many ways. Like our weekly schedule, we lift, we practice, we watch film, we have treatments, cold tubs, we have all that stuff, just like we were in football. So it's really cool, and it's a way for me to still be a competitor, and a lot of these guys to still be able to compete at a high level without having football.
And then if you could just tell us about your role once Austin Dillon makes a pit stop, what are you really doing? What are some of the small details you're trying to nail each time?
Yeah, so I'm the tire carrier. We have 5 pit crew members that go over the wall, and really just 4 guys are doing the tire change because the fueler is just strictly putting fuel into it. Back when we had 6-man crews and we were doing 5-lug stuff, the fueler could do stuff like pull tires, do adjustments with the wedge wrench, really help the stop out and make it easier for the 5 guys who were pitting the car. Well, now it's 5 guys, really just 4, because they took out a tire carrier and they don't let that fueler do anything. So, and now with the 1-lug, stops are the fastest they've ever been. They're anywhere from, mid 8s to low 9s are really, really fast and good stops. So you have 4 guys trying to change those 4 tires and do all those jobs in that amount of time to be competitive. And it's tough. So I'm the tire carrier. I'm running out in front of the car, hoping Austin doesn't hit me. He's bumped me and nudged me a couple times, but I won't hold that against him. So I'm dropping off the right front tire to the jackman, and then I'm going around him to the right rear, hanging that tire, taking back the tire that came off the right rear back to the wall, getting another tire, hanging that left front, and then also I'll do adjustments on the chassis. We have a wedge wrench, and we have these wedge bolts on the back window that I'll do adjustments on, lower, raise the car to help with if the car's tight or loose. And that also throws a big wrench, no pun intended, into the stop, because we still have to do these really fast stops, and now it's just an added obstacle for me, and we still got to be really fast. So it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge. We have different challenges each week with the different tracks and the different things we have to do, but it's so fun, and it's just like being in football.
What's been the most satisfying win you've had as part of Austin Dillon's career?
Easily the Daytona 500 back in 2018. That was pretty incredible. I won the MAC championship at Bowling Green my 5th year, and that was super special with all the work we put in. And I think we were 2-10 one of my years as a redshirt freshman. So for us to build that place up to what we had it, and then coming to the Daytona 500, that was my first race with Austin. and we won it, man. It was just so surreal looking off into the crowd, all the fans, the lights, all the cameras, and that's like our Super Bowl. So that was a special moment for sure.
Then, of course, every year, twice a year, you get to come here to the state of Alabama, to Talladega.
Yep.
What do you love about Talladega weekends?
I love the Boulevard. I've had some wild times on the Boulevard. Me and my wife, we've gone out there a few times and had some fun, which is cool because my wife and Austin's wife are best friends, and me and Austin are best friends. So we're one big happy family. But we've had me and Austin by ourselves have had some good times on the Boulevard before we were with our wives, and now that when we got married to them, then they came with us, and that place is the best. Like Talladega is the best party in NASCAR for sure. And then the speaks for itself. It's always a great race. There's always great action, and it's just fun to come down there. It's racing country down in Talladega.
It certainly is. And you mentioned your friendship with Austin and the wives as well. How much fun was it to have that displayed on USA Network for Life in the Fast Lane?
It was awesome. And that was the coolest thing. Like when we got pitched for the show, we told the producers and the network that we really wanted to show our friendship and our love for each other. And they basically just, gave us freedom to kind of do what we wanted in the show and show who we are, show our bond and our love. And I think we really portrayed that. And it was really cool and special being able to do that with the four of us. And then having the birth of our daughter, Bella, on camera. I mean, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and always makes me tear up whenever I watch that episode. And then having Ace in most of the episodes. So it's cool to go back and watch all that.
So with all that, are you the most followed pit crew member in NASCAR, or at least have the most notoriety at this point?
I guess you could say that. There's a good amount of people who I got a good following on pit road. But yeah, I think you could group me in that, and I like being in front of a camera. I like meeting new people, getting my face out there, and just having fun. I love having fun in front of a camera and just letting my personality show. And because I'm always juiced up, I'm always energized, and I just like to be a fun person.
Well, that's really cool. Well, again, we appreciate you spending some time with our Alabama football players that went to Talladega, and best of luck to you and Austin, the rest of the team down the stretch in the number 3 car. But thank you for your time today, Paul.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good luck to you guys next season. My pit coach, he won a national championship at LSU, so he wasn't too happy that I was coming on this.
Well, that's certainly good to hear. You'll have some good memories to share with them, and give them a roll tide for us, will you?
Absolutely.
Don't miss out on the track that's too tough to tame. NASCAR is returning to Darlington Raceway from May 10th through the 12th, and you won't want to miss the action. Purchase your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com. Fun conversation with Paul Swan. Best of luck to him, Austin, Dillon, and the NASCAR team still competing coming up over the next few weeks, especially coming up at Darlington. It's time to close out this edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR, but first we need to take a look at what's coming up on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Our upcoming schedule, always brought to you by Wickles Pickles. They are wickedly delicious. I have the relish with me on set here in Tuscaloosa. You can find so many more great products available online at WicklesPickles.com to really spice up your next Bama tailgate. Let's see what's coming up across the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Well, we're going to be talking baseball since softball's run came to a close in the SEC tournament yesterday. So baseball against the LSU Tigers coming up on Friday at 6, Saturday at 4, and then Sunday at 1 o'clock. We're going to have a booth cam available presented by Country Financial for all 3 of those games coming up at the Joe. Tickets still available, RolledTide.com. But we want to make sure you join us for what should be a really fun series, a rivalry series between Alabama and LSU. Crimson Tide really in need of wins at this point to continue bolstering that resume for the NCAA tournament. That's again what's coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Don't forget we'll be back as well next Thursday with a new edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. That's your look at the upcoming schedule presented by Wickles Pickles. And that's going to wrap up this edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest Ian Petrutz, Jocelyn Briski, as well as Paul Swan. Really fun conversations with all of them, and we hope you'll join us again coming up next Thursday at 2 o'clock for another edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. Thanks to our video producer Ethan Carabin. He put this entire show together, and thanks to all of you for watching. For everyone with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, again, this is Roger Hoover. Look forward to hopefully seeing you at Sewell Thomas Stadium this weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone. Roll Tide.